Welcome to the official week 1 video of 16 weeks to 600 deadlift. This is going to be covering my lower body training. I'll have a simultaneous series 3 months to 315 to cover my upper body training, which will probably come out later in the week. I'm still pretty sick. It's just that I was able to get all of my lower body days for this training week done, so I'm trying to get ahead and get this recorded early so that hopefully I can get it out early, but we'll see. So, I mentioned a little bit in the week 0 video that I'm going into a bit of a hypertrophy block. So, I just came off of about 2 months of what I would say like medium repetition ranges, like something like 5 to 7 or 8. So, and then of course I went for a kind of an impulsive 545 deadlift, which I managed to pull off somehow. And what I was looking for in this time is, I'm going to be going on vacation to see my family at the end of December, and I needed to actually put a little bit more muscle on my frame so that I can eventually move on to make a serious run at that 600, before I turn 21. So, without any more ado, let's actually get into the sessions. So, to start my training week, I did a few triples at 295 as well as a single at 335 on a high bar squat. This is essentially just to scratch the itch of like heavier weight because I'm kind of a meathead, and I do firmly believe in sort of a semi-concurrent periodization. That's kind of a big brain way of saying like you can get away with doing heavy stuff as well as trying to focus on one main quality. The key is that obviously the 95% of my work is going to be in that 7 to 10 or 12 rep range or higher even, whereas I've only got basically one exercise where I'm going lower than 8 reps in a set. So I started off with some squats, and those went surprisingly well, as we'll get into in the next training day here in a minute. Unfortunately, I don't have any footage from this session, so you're going to see a lot of pictures of the dog again because she's very cute, and eventually we'll have a Penelope episode, but we'll get into that another time. But the squats actually moved really, really well. I've struggled a lot with getting to actually depth on squat. It's been somewhat of a struggle for me because I'm very leg dominant, as you guys will see in the videos that I put later in this video. And it makes it a little awkward to get down to depth, especially with how hurt my hamstring was for over a year. Now I'm finally starting to get that figured out, sitting further back, pushing the knees out, wider stance, the whole 9 yards, almost Matt Wenning-esque. After that, I went on to do 10 sets of RDLs. I had, I think, 9 sets of 9 planned with 300 pounds. I eventually just decided to go for that 10th set because it just felt really, really good. You want to put on a lot of tissue onto your hip extensors. Super high volume RDLs, good mornings, and stiff leg deadlifts will do the trick. It's just extremely mentally challenging when you're first getting into it. Luckily, I've kind of been in this situation before. I was already doing 6-8 sets of 45-degree hip extensions in my heavier block before this. So luckily, I was able to get away with doing all 10 of these. On my last set, I did 20 reps. Obviously, it really starting out was not that much weight. It's the beginning of a block. I'm hoping to push these probably north of 365 by the end of this block, and then maybe I'll just do a for fun set of 405 and see if I can get to like 15 or 20 reps. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. It's worth mentioning this day is probably going to get moved around because I had some difficulties with the off the floor variation that I do on the other day. So this is the RDLs are probably going to get cut in half as far as the volume, and I'll do some more off the floor stuff on this day. It's important to keep a little bit of specificity even in mainly hypertrophy blocks. because when it comes to something like a deadlift where you have to move it from a dead stop, it's really kind of jarring when you have to go back to off the floor if you weren't doing anything off the floor. So now I should mention I do one accessory movement the day after my actual heavy overloading leg day. This is mostly just because I only have, a maximum of about 2 hours to train each day. Otherwise, work situations and life stuff comes up and I have to start, cutting down anyway. So I just took my shortest day, which is sort of like my back accessory day, which is the day after my leg day, and just stuck one light movement on the end of that. So my accessory for that was, or is, single-legged good mornings. So I basically, it's almost like a split stance. You see John Bones Jones, the UFC fighter, do these occasionally. There's videos out there of him doing them. And it's just so that I can even out my left and right side. My right hip extensors are still much, much, much weaker than my left. I've kind of joked before that my left leg is already a 600 deadlifter. My right leg is probably like a 495. So split the difference, 545. So moving on to the second day. Again, scratching the itch for heavier weights. Started with a RPE 9 single at 385 on a manta ray squat. So for those of you that don't know what that is, that little blue thing on the bar essentially almost acts like a safety squat bar or like a pussy pad. So it kind of pushes it further up your back and almost makes it in line with like the middle of your neck, which gives you a really bad leverage disadvantage. It's almost as bad as doing like a front squat. It didn't move too bad. I had to like triple check on video that I actually hit depth because it felt a little too clean. You can see my feet shift a little bit. I think that's just because my freaking knees have to go like 3 inches over my toes. But those moved really well, and then I went and did some back downs with only like 255 pounds, 5 sets of 5. More than 3 reps of squat really just tires me out really bad. So this is where the sickness starts to come in. Left the gym, went home, took some medicine, chilled out. I've been sick this whole training week, basically, since day 2 or 3. So this, 6-7 day training week is probably going to get stretched out to 9, 10, 11 days. But came home, ate, chilled out for a little bit, did what I needed to do, went back to the gym, and everything moved terribly. So I had a 1-inch deficit snatch grip deadlifts, aka hell deadlifts. If you follow my Instagram, you'll probably see me do these sometimes. They're horrible. They take probably 15 to 20% of the weight off the bar compared to a normal conventional deadlift. And it was just really a little bit demoralizing. I went up to a weight that I was supposed to do for 5 sets of 7, and I did 1 rep. And I knew for a fact that I was not going to be able to do a set of 7, much less 5 of them. So, I'm sick, gave myself a little break, moved on to the high bar good mornings, which is the next exercise. Put a little bit more weight than planned on there. I planned for 185, put on 195. And I just wanted to focus on, again, it's a lot of sets, a lot of reps, just good quality, getting all the way down, feeling a stretch in my hamstrings, coming back up. So the thing with these also is that a lot of times now, as I've gotten a lot heavier, I was very much a beanpole when I first started. I was very skinny, and as I got heavier, my stomach pushes more against my thighs as I get toward the bottom, which is why you don't see me wearing a belt. And it kind of gives me a false sense of security when I'm going all the way down. So I have to just make sure that I sit all the way back and get that complete stretch in the hamstrings. That's why you see a little bit of discrepancy in the range of motion between reps on this video. This was only my second of 5 sets. after this, I pretty much called it. I do a little bit of stuff after this, but it's like abs, hamstring curls, stuff that's really not worth recording. But this block's going to be kind of boring for you guys as spectators, so for that, I am sorry. But I do think it is extremely valuable because your muscle size largely predicts your 1 rep max. I don't have the data on hand, but something like, 80-90% of strength, like 1 rep max, can be predicted by muscle mass, and something like 60 to 65% of your 1 rep max is actually entirely dictated on the number of I think it's myofibrils or nuclei within muscle cells. I don't really remember which one it is, but that should give you a good idea. And it always helps to look a little bit prettier, right? So thank you guys for watching. That's week 1. Check out my last video, check out my shorts, check out my Instagram. All right, thanks guys.